So, if you're new here, this is a space where introverts gather and we bitch about the rest of the world, and we also discuss a little bit on how to not lose our shit in a world that isn't really built for us. So, in today's video, what I wanted to talk about was the concept of introverts and friendships or connections in our life as introverts, right? And when I say introverts, it honestly means a lot of different things, right? It means people who are very opposed to the idea of integrating with the world. It means people who, from time to time, are okay with social interaction, but mostly not. And then there are also people who, for a certain number of years, have just pulled back from the world. The reason being that the concept of connections and the concept of personal growth and personality and things like that are so obscured in the world. You don't really know what to do and what to expect. It feels like every time you almost find yourself, there are a million people either out on social media or in your life trying to tell you that no, there's another way to do it, don't do it this way. And I feel like that's the reason most of us just pull back from the world for the sake of our sanity, and then we don't want to go back anymore. But in all honesty, I don't think we can. I mean, from what I understand of people like me and you, we are not about, we've had a considerable amount of time where we have not integrated ourselves into the world. We've gone into this full isolation sort of mode. But honestly, we are people who are ambitious, and we have had ambitions as a child. We have had this drive to succeed. We have had our own belief systems, always sort of questioning everything around us, not accepting things as they are. Somehow, somewhere in our growing up years, that stuff just got beaten out of us. Too many responsibilities emotionally and things like that. I feel like there was a point in our life where we completely withdrew from the world, and we did not want to be seen. We did not want to, the idea of being seen in the world, the idea of succeeding, the idea of being in the public eye in some way or the other seemed uncomfortable. Hiding from the world is what seemed good and easy and comfortable at the time. But I feel like we're all sort of coming back into this zone where we're okay now with being a part of the world. We're okay with certain levels of success that we're sort of getting used to a little bit more. And our ideas of love and partnership are also very different from people around us. When we get into connection, since we're people who think so deeply and who analyze everything and want to understand everything in the best way possible, we don't like surface level understanding of things, right? So our partnerships, our connections really have to be very deep, and you expect your partner as well to be as present as you are, or your friend or whatever to be as present as you are in that connection. But I feel like that, over the years, without really with all of the emotional burdens that we grew up with, the initial years of stepping out into the world didn't really look like that. We ended up in situations where we didn't really find people who could value us in the way that we needed to be valued, or in the way that we were valuing them. And that is probably because we didn't value ourselves at all. We never got the chance growing up to do that. And I feel like that sort of again pushed us into this phase of isolation, right? And we have had to work really hard to bring about this balance, this harmony, this moderation into our lives, where we don't just give up on things because they didn't work out for us. And it's been years and years of doing that, actually. I feel like people don't really understand the weight of internal work, and oftentimes it is that internal work that puts you into the zone of just not caring and just not wanting anything anymore, because it's so difficult. It is difficult, and a lot of times you don't see the outward manifestations of that internal work immediately. It takes years sometimes, and that's frustrating, right? So when it comes to our life and our connections and the friendships that we have, I think what we really need to be doing is understanding completely that not everybody is going to be your best friend. Not every connection that you make is going to understand you on a soul level. But what we need in our life is people who understand that we may be different from them and they're completely okay with it, because that's how we are. We understand that people are different and we don't think twice about it. It's fine. I don't need you to be exactly like me. I don't need you to think like me. It's okay. But people generally that we have attracted into our lives have been slightly judgmental of the fact that we are different, and we have had to sort of mold ourselves to be around them because we know they won't understand. So we'll agree with things that they're saying, we'll be a certain way around them, and that is okay a few times, but in the long run it does get exhausting. So if you're realizing that people around you suddenly who have been there for so many years have started to feel exhausting, I think it's time to understand that that connection has sort of started wearing away and now you don't need to carry it any further, right? I feel like also we are people who have always been in this perpetual sort of preparation for something in our life. We didn't know what it is, but for some reason we kept moving. We are not the kind of people who you meet even a year later and we're the same person. We're not. I mean, this group that I'm talking to right now, I know that I meet you today and I meet you a year later, you're going to be a completely different person. You're going to have learned new things, new ways of being, new ways of regulating your emotions and your thoughts, and you never really stay the same, right? Honestly, you keep moving, and I feel like you sort of expect that from other people, but please understand that not everybody is like that, and that's okay. Sometimes people live their entire life on autopilot by the ideas and traditions and customs and whatever that is handed down to them by the world or by their family, and they don't think twice about it, and that's comfortable for them, so it's fine. But we're not like that. I think since we were children, we always questioned everything. We never may have said it out loud, but there's always this questioning thing. Every time you hear something, you're like, why? What does it mean? Why is it here? You have these questions. You don't really accept anything. But yes, there was a point in our life when we were extremely gullible. And even now, I feel like you probably have these thoughts that anyone can convince me of anything. I'm so gullible. I would have just said yes. Yeah, but you won't walk into those situations anymore. I feel like you're more aware of your surroundings now and the people around you right now, and you don't indulge in useless conversation anymore. So yeah, so that's good. I feel like also you, as introverts, there's a certain level of self-discipline that we have mastered in terms of the people around us. Understanding that not everybody has to be around us, has to be very, very close to us. And you don't need somebody who's very close to you. You don't need somebody to constantly share your thoughts with. I feel like that's where we have come. This place that we have sort of stopped at right now, this is a place of realization that I don't need to talk to somebody all the time. I don't need to share my thoughts with anybody. My deepest thoughts, my understanding of the world doesn't need to be offloaded onto somebody else. They can just be mine. There is no fear of being alone in the world. And I think that's something that's very, very powerful. Understanding that there's nothing wrong with existing with yourself. A lot of times people get very afraid of being alone, and hence they keep on nurturing these connections that are really not good for them. They know it as well. They know that this person isn't good for them or these people aren't good for them, but they don't do anything about it because they're like, well, if they go, then I have nobody. What am I going to do? You don't have that kind of fear, and I think that's great. That is just great. Now, I think where we are right now is when we are working on the whole self-respect, self-confidence aspect of ourselves. More self-respect, I would say. Respecting the fact that I am the way I am, and I know I'm continuously changing, I'm continuously learning, and wherever I am right now is fine. I am in a good place to meet the world. I am in a good place to present myself into society and not feel undervalued or underconfident. And the way I am is also one way to be in the world. The way I meet the world, the way I meet people, the way I talk to people is absolutely fine. I don't have to constantly keep thinking, am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? What are they thinking of me? I feel like that's also falling off for us right now, right? And more so in connections where we don't try to make people stay in our life anymore. We just don't. Not that you're doing it purposely or consciously, you're just okay with people just not being around you that much and not understanding you that much, and I feel like that's bringing about a certain level of peace, right? Now, there was a point of time in your life, and I would say years, because it happened to me as well, where there was a lot of exhaustion, burnout, and that I'm not saying that that came from uh, the outside world. It was more because of that, because there was so much internal dialogue. There was suddenly this whole, like, this fast track in growth and in the questions you were asking yourself and your internal dialogue, that you sort of, your outside world sort of came to this standstill, and your inside world, because of this deep contemplation, restlessness, the questions that you were asking, the things that you were realizing about your life and about the things that happened, it brought about this time of stagnation and this time of burnout, where you just felt that your head is going to explode and you didn't want to do anything. You didn't want to move forward in the outside world, and you just went into this hermit mode. And you felt like, this is it, I'm never going to do anything with my life. And you had these days, I feel, that you just didn't want to go on, you didn't want to continue, but yet somehow you did, right? Those days also brought about this very imbalanced energy, I feel, that made you more impulsive with your actions, more ruthless. You had higher expectations of things because you said, I'm working so hard on myself, I need some material sort of evidence that this is working. You were more hasty. You set these standards for yourself that you yourself knew were unachievable at the time, because you were in a different space at the time as a person. And all of these things are very introvert things. These things are very specific to people who live more inside their head than in the outside world, right? I feel like you have had times in your life when you have kept people around, specifically two people, I suppose, who were your friends and who were the only people that you really hung out with or were around all the time, but you knew they were not good for you. You always knew it. It's just that there was nobody else, so you had them around. And I feel like you eventually found it in you to cut them out of your life. And you sort of, that's when this journey of self-worth and self-healing started. And yeah, like, I also feel that you have entered into this phase in your life where you now look at everything with a lot of diligence in your life, people in your life, work, your days, how you spend your days. There is less shame associated with the way that you are as a person. And I really think that as somebody who has dealt with so much difficulty in meeting the world for so many years, this is something that it's a huge change for us. It's a huge change, understanding that not everybody has to see eye to eye with you, not everybody has to understand you, not everybody has to be mesmerized by you or be in 100% agreement with you for everything. It's okay for people to not agree with you, and it's okay for you to not display 100% of your thoughts in front of everybody. But it's also okay to have normal conversation with people or not. There are no more stringent rules in your life, I feel. You just wing it, and it's become more easy to do that because you have found more peace within yourself as an introvert. The reason I'm saying all these things is because I have cards. I've picked cards today to help us understand things better. I usually just talk from personal experience, but I don't usually pick cards for myself because I'm a little worried. Sometimes I'll see something that I don't like, and then I'll be like, thinking about that the whole day. But then I thought, why do it alone? I'll just do it when you guys are here as well. And yeah, I'll know that I have company and all of this. So this is like a collective reading speaking about our struggles in a world that is way too noisy for our liking. And anyway, I think that this is good progress for us in our life. Not living our life as per friendships or as per connections, or not centering our lives around other people and connections. There is a certain pocket of silence that we have, I think, created around us, and it's become more comfortable to exist there now, as opposed to before, when those pockets of silence were places that we were afraid to exist in for too long, because the world really doesn't teach you to be quiet and talk to yourself and ask yourself things and grow. The world is sort of, what it teaches you is that we'll tell you what to do, and the person who can do it best wins. But we've never been like that. It's not possible. We have done that our whole childhood, being the obedient child, the quiet child, the everybody's support system, and I think we've done it so much that it just fell off eventually. Also, into adulthood and all, we tended to be the person that everyone wants to rely on emotionally, wants to share their trauma, share their pain with, because I feel like energetically people do realize that this is, not consciously, but they just get pulled towards you because they know that you're the kind of person who will always see things without judgment. You will always listen because you understand things from several different perspectives, and that's how you've raised yourself, because you had no choice. But I think this is the fact that we have sort of taken our power back from other people. We don't expect anything from other people. We don't expect acceptance from other people. We know that this is our personal journey, and we don't, even though we may not see what's coming next, that's not a problem either, because we know that this moment is important, right now is important, feeling comfortable right now is important, and as a result of feeling comfort in this moment, the next moment will also bring comfort, and the next and the next and the next. It's a whole new way of looking at life and looking at things, I guess, for all of us. And I really think that we are coming into a more authoritative place in our life. There is a lot more clarity that's coming in terms of facing the world, and in terms of our connections and friendships and things like that. And you're not really shying away from stating what you feel, or just pulling back from things that don't really make sense to you. But yeah, it's a good time, and I don't know, this message was all over the place, but yeah, I think the main point was dealing differently with connections and love and partnerships and friendships, and yeah, I don't know if it made sense, but it made sense a little bit to me. So yeah, you guys have a nice day. I'll see you later.